Okay.
Thank you.
One job.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everybody, and everybody's watching. Next item is a silent prayer, and it's my turn, so I ask for a minute of silent prayer, please. Okay, thank you. Roll call. Start myself. Commissioner Smith's here. Commissioner Dove.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Culberson.
Here.
And Commissioner Stevens.
Here.
All right.
Did you say Commissioner Smith is here?
Yes. I think I am. Some days. I told you not to start with those jokes so early, Mike. Okay, public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to address the governing body? If you are, please raise your hand. Yes, sir. Come on up. Introduce yourself. Of course, you have 5 minutes. Okay.
My name is Gary Blackmer. I live at 20643 Tonganoxie Drive. We're right next door to the electric plant, if everybody knows where that's at down there. We're right in the middle of the widening project that went on. It appears that most of it is done, and I know Mr. Knoll has some inspections to make, but I've worked with Mr. Dove on this. He came down and took a look. I have some issues with the driveway entrance needs to be put back to rock the way it was before the project began, because they put a mud type material back in there. When it rains and gets wet, it turns to mud. Right now it appears a little hard because we've had no rain. That's the first issue. The edge, one edge is not finished, and it's dangerous. I have a wife and an 11-year-old granddaughter that we raise, and I don't want to see them slip off of this edge, which now has a double edge. One edge is about this deep because people keep driving in it. I put caution tape across trying to keep people out of it, but that edge has to be finished properly so that everybody knows where that boundary line is and they don't get in that ditch that now fills with water down there and appears to look like a hot tub, to make it plain and simple. That much water. I don't want to see my family upside down or on their side down in that ditch. That's the second issue. The ditches, also, it was made clear to me early in the beginning of this project that these ditches have to flow. They do not, because dirt is in the ditches. The waters can't flow through to the drains. Evidence is after the rain, the culvert under the road was dry, no rain. Fourth issue for me is survey stakes. I don't know how you go about that. My understanding was somebody knocks down survey stakes, they got to resurvey it. I had the survey crew come in right before this project so we know where the boundaries were. So Mr. Dove thankfully has came down, taken the pictures. He's seen all this I've discussed with you. I know Mr. Knoll has another inspection. He says he's been by there once and he wants to make another inspection when everything's completely done. But I'm not asking for a lot. I'm asking for the driveway to be put back like it was, as I was told it would be, and it hasn't been. And I need this edge taken care of so I don't have to worry about the family.
All right. So, no, appreciate your comments, sir.
That's all I have.
Thank you. We'll let you write into that. I've seen that. Okay. Okay. Anybody else in the audience? If not, we'll move on. Administrative business. Mark, do you have anything?
Commissioners, just want to let you know that I did schedule the Mid-America Regional Council, David Warm, to come out on November 5th.
Good.
I did ask to meet with him again, so I did get that scheduled. He's not sure what all staff he'll be bringing, but he'll probably have a couple other staff members with him too. I asked him to kind of just provide an overall background on what Mid-America Regional Council does, how the county participates, and what our role is in any of the committees.
That's great, and it's good for them to come out to our turf too, so they can really get a good idea of some of our things and needs and hear from all of us. Very good.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
I visited with Mr. Lawfrey about Frank White from KCATA coming up also to visit, and I thought it probably would be appropriate to do it the same day.
I have no problem with that.
I'll invite him. I'm not sure we've been working back and forth on calendars, but
that'd be great.
If that works.
Yeah.
Because those are all kind of organizations from Kansas City that we work with.
And we got to stay in front of them. And that's a good point. Yeah, we can make that happen. That'd be great. Okay. You didn't have anything else, Mark?
No,
Fran, did you have anything for the group?
Only thing I have this morning is that we started advanced voting this morning. We're ready.
It's already come that
taking
time.
Some voters, got several in there, but other than that, that's about it.
Good.
Did you have a line?
Not yet.
Okay. She's waiting. She's waiting for the line.
That's it.
It's in good hands. Appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Okay, I have nothing to bring up as now. Commissioner, you have anything?
Neither do I. No.
Jeff?
I don't have anything. So.
Mike?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda then.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Start with myself. Aye.
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 All righty. Moving on to formal board action. Excuse me. Consider a motion to approve an agreement with the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas for the cooperation towards Wyandotte Leavenworth Area Agency on Aging Responsibilities. Good morning, Con.
Good morning. Commissioners, what you have before you is an agreement or a memorandum of understanding with the Wyandotte County. This has been a relationship that's been in place for 50 years. It's just being formalized at this time. We are a part of the Wyandotte Leavenworth Area Agency on Aging, one of 11 area agencies on aging in Kansas. We're a subrecipient of grants that are funded through that area agency on aging. This just formalizes that relationship. It's been a good relationship for many, many years. But at this time, councils from each county decided to make that formal. So they have the right to audit our use of the grant. In no way, shape, or form do they have any oversight over staffing or budget or anything like that, just simply grant administration. And that's what you have before you in that board action and contract.
It's basically just what we've been doing and not just make it formalized, as you were saying. Okay. Any questions, folks?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike.
This is maybe for council. Is we haven't had this formalized in the past, but what is there a new statutory requirement that we formalize it, or is it something we should have done in the past, or what? Why are we formalizing this now?
So the thing that spurred this contract was actually an audit that the UG underwent. That audit, that audit from the state, one of the outcomes of that audit on their end was they wanted a formal agreement between the unified government and Leavenworth. And so they reached out to us about formalizing this agreement, and we agreed. The audit was, I think, found a lot of other things on their end that they needed to be doing better, and this was one of those things. So,
It's sort of a mandate from the state.
sort of, yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? All righty. Motion?
Move that we approve an agreement with the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas for the cooperation towards Wyandotte Leavenworth Area Agency on Aging Responsibilities.
Second. Go ahead. Discussion? Okay, I'll start roll call. Aye.
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 All right, very good. And keep it too long, Connie.
Thank you, Connie.
Okay, we're on presentations now. Quarterly report, solid waste.
Good morning.
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 So this is our quarterly report.
Could you, excuse me, could you bring the mic a little closer to you?
Yeah, it's tough to hear up there.
Grandkids always tell me push it away.
Thank you.
We processed 1,700 more tons over this last quarter than in 2024. Tire tonnage was down by 3 tons, so
hopefully all the tires in the ditches are getting picked up. Our cleanup count is up by 69 residents and 2 tons. All permits are up to date. The report did say that the permit is renewed until 7/31/26. I sent the application in on time. It was approved by the first set of eyes, and then it went to financial assurance, and they got kind of backlogged. So they did contact me, and it is approved now till 7/31/26. Our household hazardous waste appointments increased by 20. We received the grant for the enclosing of C building that you guys authorized and signed off on. All the walls are already up. We're just waiting on the garage doors, and it's looking really good.
When do you anticipate those garage doors being up?
I think they said a month
About a month?
for the doors, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Everything else is completed, though. It's enclosed except for those areas, and now our
Okay.
recycling is going to stay dry.
So hopefully our weather will hold up until that. Until that.
It will.
All right, good, okay. I'm with you on that. Thank you.
Questions?
I don't have any questions, but I would just like to
Go ahead,
say
Jim.
something though while Tammy's here, because this keeps getting brought up ever since the city was asking about taking over the transfer station from the county. So I understand, some employees have some unrest about what's going to happen
Yep.
to their job, So I just wanted to recap some of this so that reassure them. So in the beginning, just to kind of recap, the city of Leavenworth was taking all the city refuse to the county transfer station. The county doesn't make any money off of that department, but they
That's right.
do charge enough to make it self-sufficient. So
Yep.
whatever it costs us to run the transfer station, that's what we charge the people that use it. City of Leavenworth was taking all the refuse there. Our costs went up from where we're taking the trash to who's our ham quarry said, hey, we're going to have to charge more now. The price went up. So the county told all the customers, hey, the price has gone up a little bit just to cover the cost to make sure that we're still being self-sufficient in that department. The city of Leavenworth said, well, we're not going to pay that additional cost. We want the old rate. We said, well, we can't give you the old rate because it costs us more to do it. You have to pay the new rate, or everybody else in the county will be subsidizing Leavenworth City's trash.
Right.
So people out in the county will be paying for the people of city in City of Leavenworth's trash service. So the city said, well, we're not going to pay the additional amount. We can do it ourselves cheaper. So we said, okay, then go ahead and do that. Since then, the city has tried several different ways to make this work, and they got behind on their schedule. They weren't picking up trash. They decided they won't pick up certain trash. They got the plastic dumpsters, thinking that would help. Several things they've tried, and they're still having problems. So that's when they asked, hey, we just need our own transfer station. So that's when they asked if they could take over. Well, they were first going to build their own on 4th Street, I think, at the old Abels Field. Anyway, the last offer they made was, hey, can we take over the county transfer station? So I just want to make sure to reiterate to you guys, the city can come back anytime they want. They're welcome to come back, but they have to pay what it costs us to handle that trash. But they don't want to do that.
Well, as you can see in the report, they do come there.
Yeah, and they do. They've started using this again partially, but they're still trying to take most of their stuff themselves, I think. But anyway, my point is the city can come back to the county transfer station anytime they want. They just have to pay the same rate everybody else does.
Right.
And until they want to do that, we can't accept their trash other than them paying what they're doing now. And they're paying at the new rate on the trash that they do bring.
Correct. In the last quarter, they were our second
Highest
hauler.
Okay.
Yes.
So just to recap, though, the county is not interested. This board has already said we're not interested in selling the transfer station, the county transfer station to the city. So we're all still on the same page. So just to make sure the employees know everything is.
Yeah, what we told them was they can come back and make a presentation they want to, but I think the majority of the commissioners thought that that's not a good idea. I've seen how this thing folds out in Lansing, and I definitely will not, I can't support that. But I think Jeff makes a valid point on pay what everyone else is paying, and you're more than welcome. It's not hard.
But just so you guys know, we're not selling the county transfer station to the city of Leavenworth.
I'm sure staff is listening and they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
Commissioners, I just wanted to address that because I thought the last time when Mr. Peterson was here, what we discussed is that you wanted staff to continue to look at the options and give an evaluation and present it. So if it's the commission's opinion that there's no interest in that, I'd like to know so that we don't waste time doing that.
And that's exactly why the other reason I brought this up is I don't think we need to waste time looking at that.
So I would like to know that today if that's the commission's direction, so I can let the city know that we won't proceed with that.
Okay,
decision.
well, we'll see. Vanessa?
I think that was the portion of the meeting that I was not here for.
Yeah.
So at that time, the direction was that we wanted to pursue options.
We wanted to go ahead and meet with the city and come back with a presentation on what the benefits or the distractors might be for the county to move forward with some.
So what's changed since then?
I think what Jeff's saying, and I speak for Jeff, is the majority had reservations about doing it at all. So I guess the valid point is this. Do we want to send staff down that road, or is there anybody on this governing body, majority, that really wants to see that come back before us? And that's what we're trying to figure out right now.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about it, Vanessa?
I guess I am not opposed to having a conversation and seeing what the options are. I know how much do you think this is going to take to figure that out? I mean, it seems like it would be.
But I think there's probably quite a bit of work on both sides. Particularly the city would have to do a complete financial analysis of how it would differ from them running their own.
Yeah.
So that would take quite a bit of time. And on our side, we're going to have to evaluate and make sure, one of the things that Mr. Peterson said when he was here and that we would agree with is that there could be no change in the quality of service and services that are being provided to the county right now. And it also, and he acknowledged this, that there would be no change in staff. If that happened, all the current staff would stay the current staff because they would have to fill those positions anyway. So those were some things that came up, but it would not be an insignificant amount of time. And if there's no interest in the Board of County Commissioners, it'd be better to find that out now than to come back with a presentation that has no support.
And after I saw the list of, I don't want to say incentives, but the free items that we offer the county taxpayers, for instance, anybody can dump there once a year for free in the county. That includes people in the city. There was a whole list of things, though, that we offer: tires, taking in tires, taking in household waste. There was a whole page of things that we offer our county taxpayers now that I am sure will go away if the city takes over that. And that's why I'm saying I'm no longer interested in even at all talking about this, because they're going to take all those things away from the way it's operated now.
And you can say you won't let personnel go, and I'm sure that's what there is, but you can't, once you're in charge, it's your game to run. So, and you set the rules. So to say that's a nice thing, and I think that's what they truly believe this time, but things change.
Yeah.
So anyway, Vanessa, do you have anything else on that?
I'm not aiming to, display any lack of good faith towards the city of Leavenworth, but I think that
Yeah, and this isn't about that, really.
if we're putting a layer in between, the county and the county service, and putting a city in there, I just don't know if it's the best organizationally.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Willie?
I'm going to agree with Jeff here. I'm not interested in going back over this again. It's been said, and that it's not really going to help us as a county. So, John, should we be asking for a vote for this in order to make that, if that's what we're looking to get done.
Well, I thought I'd probably just get a consensus, and we need one. We can go down that road because I don't think we had a motion to do that. I think
I think you actually did have a vote,
Did
if
we?
I recall. I think you
Okay.
voted to give staff direction. So I just need to know.
Okay.
One way or the
we
other.
can you can make a motion if you want to.
I think if there was a motion and a vote before, we need to take a motion and
Okay.
a vote
I
today,
thought-
especially
Okay,
since
I
we're
realized-
changing course.
I just thought we gave direction. Okay, well, we can discuss after we get a second then anymore. Somebody will make a
I'll make
motion.
that motion.
Okay, I'll second. Now we'll discuss it. Willie, you have anything else to say?
No.
And what's the motion?
You made it.
I didn't make it. I seconded it.
So the motion would
Who
be
made it?
that we just notify the city we're not going to go forward with
But
any
not-
discussions.
I said
County will
correct.
retain.
I
I'm not going to go forward
Okay.
on that.
Okay. Well,
Is that in
Yeah.
conjunction with what
Yeah, and if you look at that list, like I said, a whole page list of things that Tammy provides to our taxpayers that I know will go away, that was pretty much the determining factor for me.
and still, there's an opportunity if you want to pay the price that everybody's paying, you can still use it. Mike, you have any comment on that?
I said the only comment I made last time was I'm for whatever benefits the county.
Yeah.
So if we made an agreement with the city, I would want to see that the county benefits and all of our employees would be protected in the contract.
Jeff, you have anything else? We got a motion and a second. I'll start the roll call. And what was the thing again? We've changed it a couple of
Say
times.
it.
Huh?
Could you give us that motion numbers so we know exactly what I'm
Basically, you were
saying?
giving us direction to not proceed with the discussion.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
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 Well, that took a lot of winding around the road, but we thank you. We thank you. Okay. Is
Get it
any,
done. Sooner or later, we get it done.
we good? Any questions for any more? Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vanessa?
If I'm not mistaken, when we went and met with the city,
Excuse me.
we discussed this to an extent. And I was thinking they were going to get back with us with the numbers that they have, on this line item per se, so we could kind of go over what they're spending out of the county and kind of see, more or less give us numbers to work with, but we never.
I think that would have been part of this conversation.
Okay.
This was kind of the kickoff. We were going to go into that and get further in depth. And that's what I meant by a complete financial analysis of,
Okay.
is it cheaper here or cheaper there? That motion effectively ended that. The city will, I'll let Mr. Peterson know that we're not interested in that conversation any further, and we'll move on.
I do have a question for council. We could, in our contractual, in our contract with the city, we could protect our staff, and we could also protect the right of the Leavenworth County citizens to have the benefit of going to the all the benefits that they have as members.
I guess what
That would be-
contract would you be referring to? Like a contract for
Well,
sale?
if we made an agreement that the city was going to take over the operations, in that contract, we could protect those items.
Theoretically, yeah, that could
Yeah.
be something that could be negotiated in a contract if we were to get to that point.
Which will last as long as that present board is on there.
Right. I mean, I would want to see that Leavenworth County benefits financially from it, and I don't think it would be in their financial, probably best interest to go down that road.
Yeah, and my whole point is the only one that has anything to gain out of this would be the city of Leavenworth. The county doesn't have anything to gain from any of this.
Unless they want to pay a tremendous amount.
I think for me, it's two separate things. Like trying to figure out if we're going to hand over to Leavenworth City to run the entire thing, or Leavenworth City coming to the table with what their expenditures are as to why they feel like it's cheaper for them to go out of town. To me, those can be two separate conversations, and so that's
What's the point of the second one, though, that you said?
Well, I guess because it's a constant back and forth, people say, well, it's way cheaper for them to go out of town. Other people say there's no way it's cheaper for them to go out of town. So I think it was just a matter of transparency and clarity that I was looking for before when we met with the city.
Yeah, but why do we care whether it's cheaper or wasn't cheaper? Why does the county care?
I think because it's like an accusation on us that we're overcharging because it would be cheaper for them to take it all the way there.
Okay.
I think the key also is what Commissioner Culberson brought up is the opportunities there if they want to pay the same rate we're changing everybody else. So there is an opportunity to do that. And, if something comes up down the line that would benefit, like Commissioner Stevens said, and Commissioner Dove, that benefit the county, I'm open to listen, but I don't see that right now. I see this is going to be not just one or two issues, but there's some other issues that are going to come down that we're not even talking about now. So I'm ready to move on if y'all are. Okay, Council on Aging, welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners. Quarter 3 report, everything at the Council on Aging is growing. You can see there for Meals on Wheels, we're looking to deliver about 115,000 meals this year. About 30,000 meals were delivered in Q3. I also wanted to point out the year-to-date new clients on Meals on Wheels. There's quite a bit of attrition. We've seen 191 people come on to Meals on Wheels, meaning 191 people also came off of meals, moved into a nursing home, passed away, moved with family, things like that. We currently have a wait list of 3 people and intend to get those on a route next week. Our transportation is up as well. We added nearly 50 new clients in Q3. Something to note, however, 68 riders ride from Tonganoxie, Basehor, Linwood, Bonner Springs, McLouth, and Easton for about 500 rides in Q3. So really expanding that service in the southern part of the county and the outskirts of the county as well to ensure that folks have access to transportation. Volunteers, we have about 148 volunteers, saving the county about $86,000 last quarter, about $327,000 year to date for what they do to deliver meals and help out at the Council on Aging. We're on track budget-wise. Everything is looking like it should. We had 96% of our revenue in. We've also added a couple things because of funding issues. We lost 2 grants. One was a FEMA grant that wasn't funded this year. We also lost half of our farmers market vouchers as cuts were made to SNAP programs. So we've added a community pantry and are partnering with the Community Pantry Project. We have one outside of the Council on Aging. People fill that with donations. We had a lot of fresh vegetables from overflow from people's gardens, things like that. But it's not just food, it's other things that are in there. Incontinence supplies frequently are in there. Someone put a pair of shoes in there. Those lasted about 5 minutes. And so it is something that is regularly stocked and cleaned out by seniors who are accessing Council on Aging services. It's something that we knew was an issue, but didn't know how big of an issue until we put that pantry out front. So that has been something that's helping with food insecurity across the county. We also brought in about $66,000 from fundraisers that we did, as well as donors that give to us regularly. You can see that list there. That was our Q3 donations, and that included our Meals on Wheels benefit. And we also started one other program in Q3, and that was our Friendly Visitors program, and that's pairing seniors with volunteers that have all been vetted and had a background check. And it's an additional check-in for folks who are isolated who could use just another touch point throughout the day. So those are paired, a volunteer with this homebound senior, just to kind of build a relationship and have another touch point with them, and that has been successful so far.
Very good. Questions or comments for Connie?
Can you address, like on this transportation, you said 68 riders from the southern part of the county. How is that subsidized, and kind of give a review of how that's done, how the transportation is done?
Yep. So our transportation program is a fee-for-service program, and so folks pay for that ride. The mill levy really subsidizes our drivers' salaries and that, but for services that are needed outside of the county, like stroke rehabilitation, chemo, that's typically what those are, bringing folks into Leavenworth for dialysis, that you see those rides, but that's how that's paid for. So part of it is paid by the client and the rest is subsidized via the mill levy with the county for salaries.
And is that, you have one vehicle, or how many vehicles do you have?
We have 31 vehicles in our fleet.
That you use for this service?
And we use half for transportation. The other half we use for Meals on Wheels.
Okay, I didn't know if you had certain ones that were designated towards.
Yes, so they're nearly all accessible. They have a ramp or a lift, so they're handicap accessible. Nearly, I would say 80% of our rides need to be accessible, have a wheelchair or a walker or some kind of assistive device. And we're door to door, not curb to curb, so we'll help folks down to the vehicle and back. So a service that's not provided anywhere else.
So if I'm an elderly person in, say, in Tonganoxie,
Yes.
and I know I have a doctor's appointment at Providence,
Yes.
tell me what's the procedure I would go through?
Yeah, so you would call our dispatch, schedule that with one of our dispatchers. That is typically.
So I would call the Council on Aging
yes.
main phone number.
Our 0778 674 0778 is our dispatch.
Okay.
And you would make that appointment, and we would find a driver. So we have some drivers who just come in to take folks out of the county. So they're more on call, and they're scheduled for those. We would call that a Kansas City trip because it's outside of the county.
So as soon as I know I have an appointment, I need to probably be calling you.
Yes, we schedule those out 2 months. So if you know you have a December appointment, we would be scheduling that with you.
So, and then what would my fee be?
It would be $10 each way.
$10 each way. All right. Well, I hope folks heard that.
Yes. Yes, it's cheaper than an Uber one way.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah.
But what we try and do is if we know we're headed out that way to Providence, we would grab somebody in Baser and then pick them up and take them back. So we try to, it's not just a one-person ride, it's a shared ride. So you may have another stop while we pick up someone on the way, take you to your appointment, then take that person back with us to Leavenworth.
And that makes a lot of sense.
And try and make it as efficient as possible.
Connie, what kind of appointments would be eligible for an out-of-the-county trip like that?
Only medical appointments go out of the county. So anything in the Providence corridor, so that would be eye appointments, anything with a primary care doctor. We do a lot of trips to KU Med. There is no chemotherapy treatment in Leavenworth County. If you need stroke rehabilitation, things like that, you have to go out of the county to do that, and that's why we provide that. So we don't take anyone outside of the county for any other reason but medical.
So if is within the county, though, what are some of the, am I eligible to do things other than medical within the county?
Yes, we'll take you to get your hair cut. We'll take you to Walmart. We'll take you to meet your friends for lunch and pick you back up.
Yeah.
So in and around the county, you can go pretty much anywhere you want.
And I've seen them everywhere, so yeah.
And is this
That's
Monday
good.
through Friday, or does it work on the weekend as well?
Monday through Friday.
All right.
7 to, we're back, all the vehicles are typically back by 3:30.
So, well, thank
Great.
you.
Any other comments or questions?
I covered the bunch there.
Yeah. We really appreciate what y'all do, and make sure you pass that on to especially the staff, but especially the volunteers.
I certainly will. It's our pleasure.
And I'll see you on the 31st.
Okay, can't wait.
Okay, building and grounds.
Are you going to be singing? On Thursday?
No, I'm one of the judges. You wouldn't want me to sing, Mike, let me tell you.
Oh, you have a lovely
We get
voice.
John Jacobson to sing. He can sing.
Morning,
Aaron.
Commissioners. Q3, most prevalent thing is courthouse roof is completed totally. The skylight was replaced and put on, so the actual roof is completed. The bid for the terracotta and stonework has been completed. worked with legal on getting all of the redlined items that contractor and county needed and made adjustments to it, had that completed. Pullman had their terracotta supplier come out. They were out and scanned all 3 courses by hand of the terracotta that is from those scans. They'll start producing molds. Once a mold and the scan is produced for us to approve, then we'll have that 40-week wait time, roughly 40 weeks, for them to produce the 3 courses of terracotta. And then once that terracotta is produced and shipped to us, then items of actual removing 3 courses of stone and opening the building up will begin. We worked with Pullman and legal on timelines for that, and everybody's questions like when is it going to start and when is it going to end. Factoring winters in there and factoring you don't want water infiltration in the building and having those 3 courses of stone and terracotta removed. Worked with the contractor, the end date, and after that date of 11/15/27, that is the end date of the project. At that point, if the project isn't complete, the county will be seeking damages. Anything further on that one?
What was that date again, Aaron?
11/15/2027.
Thank you.
Sir. That is the largest one of our items. We had some issues with the chiller in Q3 and replaced a module on it. The transfer station building C, they awarded their grant. Brunson completed the walls on the exterior, and you have about a month until the garage doors go in. We had garage door issues where we had a couple of garage doors either be clipped or track-wise at EMS stations, and we worked on those. We had issues with repair leaks, roof repair leaks at Cushing. We have a small roof up there that we're looking at possibly removing outdated and no longer used HVAC and heating items and removing that from the roof with a crane to free that to do a re-roof on it, and that would be a remove and not replace because it does not need to be replaced, it just needs to be removed. Removing that item would significantly lower the cost of replacing the roof that we have some issues with on leaks. We're looking at that. My staff set up for Mod RN over there, which is the county's new on-call nurse that's free to county employees that are enrolled in our healthcare program as well as their family that's enrolled in it. We took care of all of their setup, and they're up and running. We're still waiting on signage for that so that county employees understand that here's exactly where I need to go over in Cushing on the backside, south side. The Justice Center LED conversion is complete. Every light over at the Justice Center was converted over to an LED light. We coupled grant funding along with funding from Evergy. The funding from Evergy along with the funding from the grant was for $76,000. With coupling it with Evergy, the cost of the lights were $14,000 roughly to the county. And then with install and everything else, that project with grant funding will be free for the county. We will see zero cost on it. We have seen a decrease in our electric bill over there by switching over everything to LED. And in the future, we'll look for grant funding for other larger buildings to switch over to LED as well.
Hey, Aaron, real quick. When did that process start?
The conversion on that process started in 2024, but to complete it in a calendar year so that we don't have an agreement that spans 2 calendar years, the process was started in 2025, the actual project process, and then we'll be completing that up. We just had Evergy do our walkthrough last week, and once that walkthrough was completed, they'll hit their final warning or their final item, send out their check that completes up their end of it, and then once I have all the final bills, they'll all be submitted for us to get reimbursed for every cost that we had on the project.
The grant process on that, do you remember when we actually
The
applied
original
for the
grant process was Mr. Tom Cole started that process in 2023, worked a full year in 23 on it, and then it was awarded finally in 2024, I believe. I think he spent most of 23, if I'm not mistaken.
So I think the state manages it, but it's a Department of Energy grant.
Yes.
And the money came in and they announced that they were going to accept grants, and then it took like almost a year just to get for them to set a process to apply for the money. And then it took us probably another 6 to 7 months to get our project approved. Even though they told us we would get the money, it took another like 6. So this has been like a 3-year project for Aaron working on it. And not his fault. Just wanted to point that out.
We're getting ready to get into fall cleanup if the weather ever drops below 83 degrees and the trees start falling more. The courthouse will be lit up green as we have for Operation Greenlight, which is in support of troops and that. Sewer districts, we have seen an increase in cost on grinder pumps. Luckily, this time we've had 1 replacement and 2 repairs, but the repairs on grinder pumps are looking right around $2,600 per grinder pump, and then your replacements are about $3,600. All of our lift stations we've had jetted and cleaned so that we're maintaining no issues on those. In the future, myself as well as staff that work at the sewer district are looking at possible grants and backup generators for our lift stations. During power outages, those lift stations that we have are not generator run. So if we run into a part where we're an extended power outage, we have to call a vacuum truck to come suck out those lift stations and then deposit it into our lagoon. Very rarely do we have that issue, but having a backup generator on it would be more cost effective than buying a vacuum truck. A vacuum truck sits anywhere around $300,000 to $400,000.
Yes, it does.
So generators
one in Lansing. Yes, they do.
So generators would be a lot less, and especially if we can find grant funding for it, and that's where we're looking at it now.
And that's cheap now.
Aaron, our role in sewer districts. How many sewer districts do you manage, and what's
You have a total of 7 sewer districts, but some of those sewer districts have been decommissioned, and our role in those sewer districts currently are basically we're the pass-through of money on funding. When they were decommissioned, they took out a KDHE loan. Sewer districts have to be self-sufficient, very much so, like the transfer station self-sufficient. The entities and the homes in those sewer districts are the only items that can pay for items for that sewer district. So when you decommission lagoons and items like that, so all of the 3 ponds are removed and everything transfers over to a city. When you remove all those ponds, all the cost of decommissioning those and closing those out, and then the connection fees to the city typically go on the homeowner's sewer district. So that sewer district takes out a loan. That one was through KDHD. Currently with those, we are a pass-through on 2 of those, and those items, one of them rolls off in 2030, one of them in 2027. The other sewer districts you look at are Ginger Creek. Those are fully operational. We have lagoons, we have lift stations. Then you go out to Highcrest. Everything in Highcrest subdivision, yes, they have lagoons, but everything in that subdivision is based on a grinder pump. A grinder pump shoves it uphill because the trajectory of the topography of the land doesn't have free flow. So when we took that subdivision, whoever took that subdivision, everything out there, when the grinder pump fails, is on the cost to the county. Those special assessments to the Highcrest are factored in. That basically, we try and come out even on that. We don't want to make money off of it. But with the cost of grinder pumps going from when I started at $1,800 to now you're sitting at $3,600 for a new one, we did have one subdivision that we had to adjust their cost, and it was as minimal as possible.
Aaron, let me ask you this.
The cost isn't actually on the county, it's on the sewer district.
It is directly on the sewer districts.
How many grinder pumps do we have?
How many grinder pumps do we have? You have 80 homes out there.
Is each one on?
Yes.
Mercy, we weren't thinking when that, well, never mind. Oh, my goodness. Those things are
And cost effectively, we looked at transferring Highcrest to Lansing. That was initial in 2019. We looked at that. Your closest gravity would be at the base of Lansing High School. They have a sewer there. You'd roughly have to put in 2 miles of pipe along with a lift station to get it over there.
Yep.
That cost in 2019 was a little over $2 million. $2 million divided by the houses that were out there. That is not cost feasible. Until expansion creates west to that subdivision, we will be maintaining that sewer district. The Ginger Creek Sewer District looks like the city of Baser will be moving that way, and in the next 5 to 7 years, and with county administrators setting up on the process when they receive that money, that connection will be made. That one will go away and will be decommissioned and then become part of Baser. But the one that will carry the longest will be Highcrest.
Yep, I know the history on that one. Okay, any comments or questions for it? Go ahead, Mike.
We have the 2 chillers. What's the lifespan expectancy of those chillers, and are we going to have to do a CIP or major upgrades, or what's coming up on those?
So you have a chiller here. You have 2 chillers over at the Justice Center, and you have you have 1 chilling tower and 2 chillers over at the Cushing building. The Cushing building's boilers are brand new. The multi-stack on it, we went through and did major renovations on it, and that one was new in 2019 before we took over there. Your chiller over at the Justice Center, we will see upgrades in the next 5 years. Your boilers over there, you will see upgrades in the next 3 years. Your chiller outside is original to the upgrade in 2004, so you're 20 years old. Parts on it, when I ordered the module, I ordered a backup module because there were 2 in the United States. I ordered the second one so that we had it on hand, so that if it goes out when it's 105 degrees, we'll be able to change it over as fast as possible. The chiller outside your courthouse, after the renovations, you will have a CIP for the outsides of the courthouse for mechanicals. The boiler, when the blower on the boiler goes out downstairs, it is no longer available. That will be a replacement of a boiler. That one has been out of replacement for the last 3 years. We have major mechanical items after the outside of the courthouse that will fall right into a CIP of the allocated funds that you guys have put towards the courthouse, sir.
Okay, and are you saying that for the foreseeable future, those funds will be necessary to maintain that CIP?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Good question, Mike. Planning and zoning, John, come on down. Good morning.
Morning, John. Trying not to take up too much of your time. Take as much as you need. Shouldn't take long.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Today through Q3, planning and zoning's processed 64 single-family permits. This is pretty much holding static with what we've seen over the last 18 months or so.
You know, I have railroad ears, and
Does this help?
There you go.
Okay. Well, I'll start again. Over Q3, planning and zoning has processed 64 single-family building permits through September 1st of this year. That's held static over the last 18 months or so. We had a substantial increase from 23 to 24, but that number's held through 24 and 25. 14 ADUs, it's almost identical to what we had the year before. You'll see the
But
chart.
John, excuse me, that's still good.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
64, because when I look back at the past, what we've doing out in the county, things like that, we weren't even close to that. We're tracking somewhere around what Baser does to a certain degree. So even that may be holding, that's there's still good numbers for people are building in the county.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And 14 ADUs, which is almost identical to last year. 151 accessory building permits, which is a substantial increase. These are going to include barns, sheds, those types of things. We've done 116 development cases. Of those development cases, 24 have been plats. We've seen a decrease in platting actions over the last 12 months. That has a lot to do with the economy and people holding static until they see what's going to happen, at least in my opinion. Rezones also have been slightly lower, but they're holding relatively static in that same amount of time. What we typically see is about 80 to 100 platted lots that remain undeveloped every year in Leavenworth County. So typically when you see a decrease in platting actions, people will pull from that pool of already platted lots so that they don't have to go through a development process.
Yeah.
They simply pull a building permit and move on. That's why we're not seeing a drop in single-family numbers. We're simply seeing a drop in platting actions and an increase in boundary line adjustments and track splits. So people are still building the same amount of homes. They're just pulling from different stock to do it. As you know, we're also responsible for building codes. That's been through the process. We'll be setting up a public hearing and bringing that back to you. Also, regulations, text amendments, we brought that to you once. We will return that to you within the next 30 days for more oversight from you. Comprehensive plan elements, we are looking at 2026. Some of the items that we may be pushing forward are going to be subplanning areas and additional regulation criteria, higher densities around cities, all the things that we've been talking about over the last several years that have been a concern for the public and a concern for both bodies. Staff has had a substantial presence in all the Mid-America Regional Council committees, are a good portion of them. You can read through that in the third page of the report. Those have been pretty active over the last 6 to 8 months. Quite a bit of projects that have been funded through that. Substantial change in how they do business on each one of those committees. They are restructuring that currently. I'm sure you'll hear about that in the near future. Development is the synopsis of what I just told you in the beginning of the report. Again, we think that people are still, obviously they're still building the same amount of structures. They're just pulling from a different pool to do so. Special use permits have stayed relatively stagnant since the change in regulations in 2024. We've only seen 3 through Q3 of this year, which is substantially less than we normally do. With that, I would answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioners? Vanessa? Okay. Jeff? Mike?
On the Building Codes Appeals Board, are you fully staffed on that board, or are you still looking for?
We're looking for 2 positions on that board.
How many does it? What's the total number?
Normally
5. So we're down 2.
Yeah, we're down 2 currently.
So what's your plan for getting that filled?
Well, we have it on the website. We ask when we have relative people in those respective areas that bring expertise to the table if they're interested in participating. We haven't had much luck in that area so far.
And what respective areas are you looking for, folks?
Anything relative to construction, fire suppression, those types of things. A background in construction is really necessary to sit on that board.
So if you're on a fire district board, or if you're a fire chief or something like that?
A fire chief or an inspector or a contractor, those would be preferable.
And how long have we been sitting empty with this?
We have been sitting empty with 2 positions for about 10 months.
So that's an appeal to folks that are watching to make a application, because we need your voluntary service.
We'll certainly take them.
Yes.
How far out are we sitting at inquiry?
Until filled.
Pardon me?
You mean as far as area?
Yes.
Any place that our website can reach, and any interactions we have with people in the Leavenworth County area that would meet those criteria.
Okay.
Vanessa, do you have anything? Jeff?
Nope.
Mike, anything else?
And the Planning Commission fully staffed right now?
It is fully staffed.
Willie, do you have anything else?
It seems perplexing to me that no one's answered that call in a 10-month period. I'm wondering, are we doing everything we possibly can do in order to attract those individuals that can qualify for that board?
Well, I think typically those types of people are very busy most of the time, and most of them tend to not want to sit on boards for any extended period of time just because of the workload they typically have. And there is that background of construction and specialty expertise that it takes to review. So we're not saying that we won't take anybody that doesn't have that experience. We're simply saying that type of experience is encouraged.
I think we need to make a concerted effort to get it filled.
How often does that committee meet?
On an as-needed basis. So that would be an appeal from any decision that the building official, in this case, that would be me, any alternate methods of construction during code approval processes.
How often does that happen?
Typically 3 times a year, 4 times a year maximum. It's certainly not on a monthly basis.
But when it does happen, it's fairly important.
It is.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Bill, come on down. Public Works. We'd like to see that get filled, though.
All right. Commissioners, today we do have the Public Works Quarterly Report to review. We will start with the Road and Bridge Department. The Road and Bridge Department over the past quarter has had most of their efforts concentrated on chip and seal work. We'd previously discussed the schedule for the chip and seal, and we were behind schedule. We are still currently a little behind schedule, but we did complete all of the main line through roadway chip and seal work that was on this year's maintenance cycle, and we have completed one of approximately 10 subdivisions that were on this year's maintenance cycle. So currently we're down to approximately 8 miles of chip and seal. Luckily for our maintenance cycle, the weather has stayed unusually warm here through October, and so we've been able to continue to work, and they are out working on that again today. And so, depend upon the weather, we may nearly complete it. We probably won't complete the entire maintenance cycle, but we are getting further along than I had originally anticipated because of these above average temperatures. It looks like the forecast for next week is in the 60s, and that's going to start to get very borderline on which days we can work and which days we cannot work. And we may need to switch to a slightly different oil that has a higher polymer content in order to continue to work and have that oil set up in a timely manner to keep it from getting on people's vehicles. Our budget within the various departments is tracking well. It is included in the quarterly report. If the commissioners have any questions about that, I'd be happy to try to review those here today. The noxious weed department.
One second. Mike, do you have something?
I just was gonna. You're working on a review of the wage structure, and kind of going to be bringing that back to us.
Yes.
When I look at this budget, where do you anticipate those additional funds coming from the budget? Will we come out of the CIP, or where will it be?
It will definitely not come out of the CIP plan. It would come from various line items that we can try to pull that we distributed previous savings from. But we do have a substantial issue with staffing and turnover within the department, and hope to bring that back to you within the next 30 days and get that before you here really soon. We have a lot of issues. I believe we have had a turnover of 16 people in the past 12 months. With just last week, we had the asphalt foreman who's worked here for 28 years announce his retirement. We've had other demotions in voluntary and ask for reduction in pay and also responsibilities to work into their retirement over the next few months and help train other employees to replace them. So we've had a substantial change in employment over the past year. Of those 15 to 16 employees that we've had to replace in the past year, we've lost 9 of those employees between 9 months and 5 years to higher paying jobs. And what we're seeing is that we're, with the more experienced employees retiring and the constant turnover that we have at the bottom of the experience levels, we have to adjust or we're going to have additional issues. I think last year we started the winter season with 12 new dump truck drivers who'd never pushed snow. And speaking with Vince last week, we're starting this year with 14 new drivers who've never pushed snow and have never worked in a snowstorm and have never worked at night. And so when you're operating a $385,000 piece of equipment in a snowstorm, it is both stressful and can be dangerous. And so we will be taking it slow at the beginning of the season, and we will do as much training as possible. But every year, this is the situation that we have found ourselves in for at least the past 3 years, where approximately half or more of our fleet of dump truck drivers are completely inexperienced.
So how are you developing your proposal for the increase that you think will be adequate?
Well, that's a very complex document, and I did not bring it with me today. I think it's something that we're reviewing. We're going to create milestones and tiers and goals and accomplishments for individuals to reach in order to reach different levels of employment, from trainee to equipment operator 1 to equipment operator 2, and then equipment operator 3, all within our current structure. But we need to provide a path forward for these folks for advancement over a 5-year period in order for them to both get paid more, increase their skills level, and have a defined path of what it's going to require for them to gain that experience and provide the proper documentation. And so currently we are developing and are getting closer to having a finalized document for your review, but we want to make sure that we have very defined and measurable metrics that are quantifiable, that aren't just subjective, that allow a person to look at that and say, I need to do this, I need to do this. It gives them a path forward for advancement.
Are you going to incorporate longevity bonuses into that?
We're going to incorporate.
Commissioner, we're going to have a work session on this
Right.
specifically, so it might be better if we could just wait to answer those at that time when we have all the commissioners have the same information. Bill and I are still working through it, and there's some items we haven't settled on yet.
Yeah, it's a fluid document currently that we're working on.
Okay.
I didn't bring it as part of the quarterly report.
I would encourage you to include a longevity bonus, because I know that's what my employer, the railroad, does. Is they'll have a goal to say, if you stay here 3 years, then you're going to get X amount of money for maintaining your employment here. If you stay another 2 years, there's another pile of money that you get, and that really encourages people to stay on, because that seems to be what we're having problems with, is people getting trained to be a good equipment operator, and then they go to the private sector.
And we'll research. I've been researching, and I'm sure Mark has experience in the matter. He's looked at this in different departments, and we're researching what our options are. What my goals are as the director is to create a path. I'm not just looking for longevity. I'm looking for people to take initiative and work in various roles within the department and be able to operate multiple pieces of equipment. For instance, the chip spreader and the distributor have had a different operator each of the last 6 years. We need to build in some experience now that we're quickly losing our leadership to retirement, that we can pass along that information. And it's not just how long you've been here necessarily, but what role you play in the department and what your experience level.
Bill, you bring up a good point. Are a lot of these positions, I know you get trained, but are they certified by anybody, say, to go out and, I'm just thinking maybe that's one way you could look at something. If you go out and do the stuff to get certified on this piece of equipment, that could be something, and I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, and there's different safety certifications, and there's CDLs, and there's different written documentation, and then there's documentation that we can provide. We're looking at a KDOT model and a lot of information right now, and we're going to bring forward a path that is something that is certified and looked at.
We got you. We're not ready yet. Okay.
Yep. So, a little bit about noxious weed.
That's going to be the challenge.
We're nearing the end of life of our depreciation schedule on a few of the tractors, but overall we've had consistent problems with the mechanics of the New Holland tractors that we currently have. In the past quarter, at one point, we have we only had one. At the time I wrote this report, we had one roadside mower that was currently operational, and two that were the boom mowers were broke down, and two of the pull behind mowers were broke down. Now, those have been repaired, and we have I believe 3 of those back on the roads currently. But it is a tremendous job mowing 1,700 miles of road right-of-way with a lot of culverts and telephone pedestals and trees and all of the various angles. A lot of these mowers are created to mow fields, and we're on embankments and in ditches and in low areas, and it is extremely hard on these machines that were set up for more of an agricultural purpose to stay working at all times. So we have a tremendous amount of breakdowns, unfortunately, with our mowers. But we have mowed all of the hard surface roads 3 times, at least 1 pass. A few of them we've mowed back. The boom mowers have mowed the intersections, and we have mowed all of the gravel roads twice, except for 80 miles. We continue to spray a few chemicals over the last quarter. Currently, we're not. It's the end of the growing season, but we have continued over the past quarter to spray Johnson grass primarily. The survey department has continued to work on the township surveys. We are finishing up High Prairie Township. There was a few lost or missing section corners, and if you look at the roadway map of High Prairie Township, it has a tremendous amount of dead-end roads and a lot of section corners that are not located anywhere near a road that require a ton of hiking to get to their location. And so the survey team was waiting for a little bit of the crops to get taken out in certain locations so they wouldn't be walking 1.5 miles through various agricultural areas through corn. And so over the next quarter, we will complete the High Prairie Township survey, and they've already started working on the next township in Tonganoxie, and we'll be working on that Tonganoxie Township for probably the next 6 to 9 months in order to complete that work. They have reviewed and completed the reviews of 32 plats and surveys for recording, and so that is down a little bit, but it continues to be very heavy load as we review all of the surveys that are recorded, whether they're in the cities or the county. They get recorded at the Register of Deeds office. Fleet management continues to order Trailblazers for the replacement of the SUVs. We have a number of F-150s, F-350s, and 2500s on order. They only open the government order window for a week here and a week there of various vehicles, and we try to stay ahead of the orders as much as possible because the lead time on these vehicles is extremely high. We do look at the cost of all brands, domestic brands of vehicles when we do order these. What is our highest rate of return, and what have they been selling for, and what company is offering the highest government incentives at the time. And so we have had, with the current used car market and the discounts that we have had, we've done pretty well on maintaining our fleet and reducing the cost of those turnovers. Often we get asked why we have so many new vehicles. Well, the intention of that program is you don't keep these vehicles after they don't have warranty. So if you can get a large enough government discount when you purchase it and then sell it at a full retail price after 18 to 36 months, the turnover, that difference in cost, because you're going from a government purchase vehicle to a private sector sale, often is very narrow. And in fact, we have actually made money on some of the vehicle sales that we've been able to turn over in the truck line. So we're going to continue to work on that.
Excuse me, Bill, what's the average mileage on these vehicles that we are preparing them for a sale?
Or hours.
Or hours. Operation.
Well, hours, it varies greatly depending on, I know, like the Council on Aging, and we were starting to have some transmission issues with one of the vans, and it was up for its lease renewal, and I believe, Connie's left, but I believe it had 115,000 miles in 4.5 years on it, and that's one of the ones they use to transport people to Kansas City. If you look at the Road and Bridge Department, some of our foremen who go and look at work orders on a daily basis will have 30,000 miles on their truck in a year, while some of the other trucks that maybe are just transporting a team of 3 out to do culvert replacements, they may be down in that 10,000 to 15,000 mile range per year. But I would say overall we're probably averaging 15,000 just as a general county. I'd have to really run the spreadsheet. It's all available on our GPS. I just don't have that number.
Not too bad considering the entire
That
economy.
doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Will?
No.
Okay.
I will note, over the past quarter, I was nominated by someone in the state, don't exactly know who, but to be the Kansas Association of Counties Executive Representative to represent the Road and Bridge and Public Works Departments at the KAC. I accepted that position, and so I will be attending the monthly KAC meetings representing the state of Kansas's Public Works Departments and answering questions that they have for legislative sessions.
That's good for you, and that's good for us.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. It's a 3-year term, and looking forward to just seeing some of that angle of what they're working on. It provides an opportunity to have insight on what they are looking at the KAC level.
They can't recall you, can they?
They can't recall you?
I mean, I'm sure they can.
What I'm saying is, Bill, Lovemore's your first priority. I know you're going to do it. So,
Bill, I can look forward to your expertise in our getting to our federal representation, because we need your help in securing those funds on it's a pilot program or whatever, because of the amount of dollars that the 48% of taxpayers are paying for the fort that is here. That would be very valuable information that we can present. That Representative, but the Commissioner Culberson can help us put forth that effort. They're interested, but now is a bad time for us to talk to them about it.
From a roads perspective, it's extremely bad time to be able to get a hold of anybody from the Federal Highway Administration. Between the current shutdown and just the number of retirees, we had during the early parts of this President Trump's term, we had probably the entire Topeka office retired and took early retirement. And so when they were offering those incentives to retire, pretty much everybody that we were working with on our Safe Streets for All grants at the federal level is no longer there.
I've experienced that already.
Yeah. I'll review the projects quickly. Tonganoxie Drive, I know the commissioners have received some emails about that. It is not uncommon to receive these emails near the end of the project. That project is supposed to wrap up in approximately 10 days. It is being striped today. Stripers are out painting this week for the rest of the county's chip and seal. Since we did complete all of the mainline roads, we immediately had them come out now that we're no longer going to be chip and sealing in anything other than subdivisions. That project has approximately 10 days left. Hopefully it will be fully open. We have a final punch list review, and we have some items that need to be addressed. Bridge K-19 is slated to start at any time. We anticipate that project to be kicked off in the next 30 to 45 days. The Golden Road bridges, they're also going to start in the next 30 to 45 days, and that road will be closed between K-32 and the road south to DeSoto. And so that project consists of 2 separate bridge replacements. And so we have tried to stagger these projects. Tonganoxie Drive, County Route 30, that is kicked off, and they're working on the North Culvert on that project. We try to stagger them as much as possible to prevent all of the roads from being shut down at the same time, but at the same time we have a lot of projects. But we try to distribute them geographically as best as we can. But a lot of these projects are grant funded, and
So the time frames are completely controlled by either the federal government or the state. If you have any questions about projects or anything, I would be happy to try to answer those.
Go ahead, Mike.
First of all, Sandusky Road, you thought it'd be October 10th. Is this in this last round now?
Yes, they're going to paint Sandusky Road. Any road that's a mainline county route or has.
I know we had talked about Sandusky Road, and they had there's a couple near misses out there. So these projects, I just wanted to I think it's when you're here, I think we should brag about you a little bit. I know that probably embarrasses you, but $62 million worth of grant writing and funding in the last number of years. So I'm going to go over a couple of those. High-risk rural road signage grant, Tonganoxie safety improvements, $1.4 million with the 90-10. That's a safety improvement road. Tonganoxie safety road safety improvements phase 2. Off-system bridge grant for ST 100 on Fairmont Road, $1 million. That's a 80-20. Kansas local bridge improvement grant, SH 54 and SH 61 bridge, $2 million, 80-20. Local grant for 255th Street, $150,000. KDOT transit grant, that was for the Cushing parking lot, and that was $580,000. The Kansas cost share program, 158th Street road improvements, $900,000. 235th Street, which was County Road 30, under the Kansas cost share, we had $975,800, and that's in addition to the $2 million, correct?
Yeah.
That we got from congressionally appropriated.
Congressionally directed spending was on top of that.
Okay. Regional Transportation Plan, $250,000. The Safe Streets Program study, $380,000 awarded, 80-20. Watershed Institute Fish Passage Grant, bridge replacement on K45 and 187th Street. That was $150,000. I guess that was for the fish to do their thing. MARC grants, cooperation for funding on county maintained roadways, 155th Street Road Improvement Project, and that's listed for $8,600,000. The county portion was $2 million. Is that right?
That was the grant, and then the county contributed $2 million to the city of Basel from the ARPA funds, I believe.
Right, and then the parallel road to 158th Street, that was $5,600,000, and that was a 70-30. MARC multimodal trails grant, that was for $600,000, but had the county not participated in that and been involved in that, that wouldn't have come through, correct?
Well, it may have come through, but we helped vote for it, and I think I made the motion on that one for that to pass.
So,
Mid-America Regional Council.
So tell us a little bit, when you're on the MARC on this committee, how does that work? You're there and these come up and you make motions to move them forward?
Well, the Mid-America Regional Council grant process is a multi-year process, and so a jurisdiction applies for that, a certain project, they get scored on that project, and then it goes before the Surface Transportation Committee, the STP committee, and on that committee there are voting members, and we are the voting member, and so we have helped work with the city of Basel. Anytime a county entity has a grant opportunity out there, I have no problem helping present it or champion that project or make motions or justify the funding. Often there's an argument being made from Johnson County that if you look at per capita populations and funding of the Mid-America Regional Council, the city of Basel has gotten far too much funding for the number of residents that they have. And so I just help defend those positions, and anytime, whether it's Lansing, Leavenworth, Basel, or Tonganoxie, as a member of that committee, I have no problem stepping up and representing the county's best interest.
So we're kind of working in collaboration with the cities.
Yeah, we work with any city. We'll work with anybody on those committees that is a member of that committee and in Leavenworth County.
Continuing on, and that's much appreciated. Support economic development. Lansing received grants from the base grant, economic development and infrastructure, sewer main extension, $1,300,000. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Fish Passage Grant, another fish movement grant. High risk rural roads, local road safety plan study, $50,000. And then congressionally directed spending and grant application written for the omnibus fiscal year 2024 federal bill, and that was for the County Road 30, 235th Street, and we did receive that $2 million.
Yes, that's correct.
So also we have an application. I have this letter from Senator Moran's district office. I guess this is staffer that deals with transportation, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, and she stated, hi, Bill, nice to hear from you. Senator Moran was able to secure $6.2 million in this year's fiscal year 2026 Senate THUD bill for Phase 3 of the Leavenworth County Connector Project. The THUD bill has passed the Senate Appropriations Committee and awaits further action and consideration on the Senate floor. Congress is currently deliberating next steps on how to fund the government by October 1. They didn't quite make that. And whether a continuing resolution and if it is a clean or has other added. Potentially chamber-passed initiatives as well. We're making good progress and certainly still critical needs that the need to occur. I hope that this helps. Best, Ashley. So we will be likely able to complete up to 92 Highway on our 235th Street hard servicing, if that comes to be.
If the budget's approved with earmarks, then we'll get $6.2 million.
And we don't know when that'll be, but we had to wait a long time on the $2 million as well.
Yeah, and we also have a Safe Streets for All grant application out pending currently. That I don't know what our likelihood of getting it is, but that was for $23 million.
So that's a lot of roads that we've worked on, and I have to give you all the credit in the world and your team and your department. It's much appreciated.
It takes a lot of people. I mean, we work on it sometimes individually. I work on them. Sometimes it's a collaborative effort, but happy to collaborate with anybody who's out looking for grants in the county.
And $62 million, and I just always like to repeat, in the past 5 years, we've paved and hard surfaced more roads than had been done in the previous 30 years. That's a lot of roads, and keep up the good work.
And Jeff, we haven't forgot your streets, so don't worry about it.
And some of them are in the north. One of them was in the north end of the county.
I wanted to go there with that, Jeff. So you do. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Go ahead.
The hundreds.
Got a cheering section back.
Yeah.
Back here.
Go ahead, Bill. Autographs later. Go ahead.
We're going to move on. So, if there's any additional questions about the projects, I'd be happy to answer the project questions. The GIS department still performing at a very high level. I did send out an email with the story map that SOMA had created with our current projects. That is out there for the public on our website. So what that is and what you guys saw was when you go to that page, it takes you through every project that is currently in the queue, whether that's under design or actually in construction, and gives you a picture from a drone. We do fly every project before and after just for documentation of the site conditions, both before and after, and sometimes during the project. So SOMA has her FAA license, and we utilize that on every single project to get good photography. Currently, we do also have that I need to send out to you in the coming week a CIP story map that has every single project that is currently in our CIP. And so much like the current project story map, we do have one now for the entire 5 years. So the public can go to it and it helps people visualize where these projects are at and what they are. And in some cases on the bridges really demonstrates the need for the replacement of that bridge if you can see some of the structure issues that bridge has just from a few photos. We also had worked extensively on preparing and quality controlling the traffic counts, and we do have a traffic count summary report for the entire county that discusses trends and traffic volumes and locations that I'll be sharing with the board in the coming week as well.
Okay. Anything else? Bill, I got a question on the last page on project status report. Is there any way you can make that print smaller?
I think you said that last time. It's actually on a 24 by 36, but
I'm trying to enlarge it here, and I'm not having any.
Yeah, you're not getting it to enlarge. I can get you anything you want, Commissioner. So
Well, if we could do that crossway on the page, so I'm not face down in this thing, it'd be a lot.
You're referring to this report?
It's no bigger here either.
Yeah, and it's not even bigger.
He likes to read the big print.
Yeah, I'm a big print guy. Exactly.
I'm going to slide it away from myself a little bit.
Okay, is there anything else?
Your KDOT local.
Yeah, we have a discussion on the KDOT local projects.
Yeah, I know, but I want to see what we're through with this first. Commissioners?
No, I have more questions on this.
Okay. Well, let's look at the.
He probably have more questions on this.
I wasn't going to look his way. KDOT local consult project support discussion.
So today, for a short discussion, Commissioners, we do have the KDOT local consult meetings. We have two coming up meetings that we'd be happy to have any or all of you attend. The next one is Tuesday, October 21st at the Great Wolf Lodge.
That's an important one.
It's the important one. It is at the Great Wolf Lodge, and it is for the metro area.
Yep.
And so I attended the District 1 meeting last week in Topeka, and there were both Leslie and Maddie from the City of Basel, and then Joe McAfee on my staff and myself attended that meeting. And the format of these meetings are the Secretary of Transportation gives a speech regarding the Ike Transportation Program, and then they go to breakout rooms. And the numbers are very important in the breakout rooms. You're given an opportunity to speak about projects, and those projects are generally projects that are on the KDOT short list. And so KDOT's provided a list of projects that are in Leavenworth County and all over the state of Kansas, and you speak about those projects. Whoever is running the room will write that project number and some of the points that you spoke about on a piece of paper that they tape to the wall. And then at the end of that breakout session, this is where the numbers become very critical. Both, sometimes they count points for the number of people who speak about a certain project, and then this year in Topeka they did a voting where you raised your hand and they counted the number of people voting for each project. Those projects that are they took two projects from each breakout room as either highly aligned or moderately aligned projects, and those make the presentation by the secretary and the different breakout groups at the end of the session. So we were able to get some of our projects moderately aligned just with the four of us there, just by voting and trying to champion the projects, and then there were some consultants in the room.
It makes a difference.
But the city of Lawrence had a very strong turnout, and there were some folks there from Pottawatomie County in District 1 for some US 24 improvements that also had a fairly strong turnout. The city of Topeka did not have a huge turnout, which benefited us as far as getting a few votes on that table. There's also a virtual meeting, and that virtual meeting is at 5:30 on October 28th. The information for that virtual meeting, I can provide that to you, or it is available on the KDOT website. They will also have a voting or a discussion in that where our projects need to be brought up. The projects that we do have for consideration this year are the interchanges at Leavenworth Road and Fairmount Road. These projects are listed as KDOT projects 875 and 876. I'm going to flip to this packet. Those projects were listed by our regional transportation study that KDOT helped fund as the two projects that had the highest reduction in travel time and best benefit for connecting into the interstate system for the county. They also had the highest cost-benefit analysis for the county for any project within Leavenworth County. I'm hopeful that we'll get support. We have in the past. There's a new director in the UG, but we have had support with Wyandotte County in the past on those projects. I think from a perspective, they've asked multiple times what if you had to choose to order those two interchanges. It is clear that KDOT seems to prefer the Leavenworth Road first and then Fairmount Road second. But these projects have an extended history. I included that in the handout. They go clear back 25 years. Currently, KDOT is looking at doing a study with the Spring Hill area in the K7 extension south. That section of K7 only has 8,000 vehicles a day. And we need to make sure that we get our improvements made on the north end of K7 that has in excess of 25,000 vehicles to 40,000 vehicles a day. We need to have those improvements made prior to those improvements down in the Spring Hill and in Miami County areas. And so numbers are very important. And I know the LCDC has sent out an invite for a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock where they're going to try to get people and provide information regarding our projects. But quickly, I'll review. We have the 875, the 876 projects, the two interchanges on K7 that were ranked second behind K5 on our regional CIP, which you guys have previously said that you want to support. We have a project 882 that we were able to just vote for because they didn't limit the number of times you could vote. So obviously we're going to continue to vote for all projects in Leavenworth County. And that is a shoulder widening and ditch improvement project, clear zone improvement project on K16 going west out of Tonganoxie to the Leavenworth County line. They just added some little bit of shoulders and repaved that road, but it scores the second highest in all of District 1 for need of engineering improvements. I believe the project that they would like to move forward over there is a Super 2 type highway like you would see. I don't know if it'd be as large as US 73, but probably comparable to a US 59 highway or portions of US 24. But it is moderate for an elevated crash history, and it has a scoring of 75. That project was not part of our regional transportation plan. It did not. It was not really on anyone's radar at the time, but KDOT keeps bringing this project forward. And so I don't think after our initial two projects on K7 and the fact that they don't limit the number of votes that you can vote on, that project would benefit Leavenworth County as a whole. The other project that's in Leavenworth County is Project 137. Project 137 is a K10 to I-70 connection for an outer loop interstate beginning to come into the county. They are currently slated, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but maybe Mark remembers, well over $1 billion on K10 improvements are slated in this current study. And the city of DeSoto owns the Armory property, and I believe they have set aside right-of-way for a K10 to I-35 connection, and they own enough land in that 9,000 acres that they can get all the way, I believe, maybe just around a mile from I-35 before KDOT even has to acquire any additional right-of-way. And so that project is Project 138. But I think it's very important that we have a good showing at these meetings, and we push for a study to be completed on Project 137. We need to have a study completed to move that project forward generally, and KDOT should conduct that study and move that project closer to an implementation design phase. And so support of that project. I believe that project was ranked 4th in our regional CIP. We had K5, the 2 interchanges, and then a Leavenworth City outer loop, Leavenworth-Lansing City outer loop. It would connect K7 to US 73, and then 4th on our priorities list that was adopted was this project 137. The outer loop for the city of Leavenworth and Lansing did not make KDOT's short list of projects, and so I would suggest that it is brought up by different representatives of both the city of Leavenworth, the city of Lansing, and possibly the county, if you represent those districts. Because if we speak about that project now, these meetings are only held every 2 years, and so we need to get in front of that and start championing that project now, so it gets onto a list the next time we have a local consult, and we can push for that and a study to be completed, a route study, a feasibility study needs to be completed. And so much like the study on the K10 to I-70 connection, a feasibility route study to determine the best route for that road and start to plan where a right-of-way could be laid out through there with the least impact, connecting up through County Route 1. Study, that project being 3rd on our list, needs to be championed by a few folks as well. Be happy to answer any questions you have, or review any of the history of these projects that I know.
Willie, you have anything?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Bill. So when can we get together to put together a briefing that will help champion this study for Leavenworth County? I'm like, how about today?
The study on the 137 project?
Yeah.
Well, we champion that project at the Topeka Local Council. We don't need I'd be happy to sit down with you individually or any of the members of the Board of County Commissioners to review the merits of that project, but what we need is just participation. At this point, we need folks to come up and just say, interstate connectivity is the lifeline of economic development for all areas. We are in a area of urban sprawl. KDOT has committed over $1 billion of funds to the K-10 corridor. Soon, when the South Orange Trafficway is completed, you'll be able to drive from K-10 from Topeka on I-70 to K-10 in Lawrence, K-10 to Johnson County without ever going through a stoplight. And as that connectivity increases with the last leg of the South Orange Trafficway and the Lawrence bypass, that traffic is going to increase. And then you're going to grow out from that corridor.
Bill, I think one thing looking at is when we go down there, you have the expertise, and this just flows off your tongue. But I think if we had bullet points that we're going to be speaking at any time, of course, I'll be at the October 21st, even with just bullet points to say would be to hand out would be very helpful to me.
It would, yeah.
In the
talking points.
Talking points.
Yeah, Bill, I think you need to develop a sheet that has our top projects on there by project number, and then talking points about each one, very brief, because they're not going to have a lot of time to talk on them.
I don't think any one of us is qualified to do it the way you just did it, to bring those points out, to where they're going to listen with attentive ears and says, okay, well, we need to make sure that Leavenworth County gets this done.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm going to try to do, and I don't know for sure that I can pull it off, is I'm going to get you those bullet points. I've already written a complete summary for the LCDC meeting, so I'll take that summary and just make it a bullet point list, basically, and provide that to you to speak to. The other thing that I did in the past that I've never seen anyone do that worked extremely well that I had people asking me about in Topeka was I created a QR code and printed a business card with that QR code on it with Leavenworth County, and then I handed it out to every single KDOT official with a link to the K5 project merits at the hearing that they had, and so they didn't have to, because they're being overwhelmed with arguments and stuff. It gave them the opportunity to stick it in their pocket, scan it with their phone later, and look at our projects. And
that's
so
good.
no one had tried that, and I think that since I got asked multiple times where my card was for our projects this year in Topeka, I'm going to try to have a card made before next week.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah. Thank you.
And Bill, I think that sheet tomorrow during the LCDC meeting, you ought to be able to hand that out to anybody who's there too, so they.
Well, it's virtual, but I'd be willing to provide it to anybody. Yeah, and I provided it to Lisa in advance, just because if you hadn't been to a meeting, the formats of these meetings change every year or every biannual cycle. They always change the format slightly, and so I wanted to provide. She was trying to reach out to 50 people that I was on the email list, so I provided the information forward. Hopefully she would share that, but if she doesn't, I'm going to say that I will share it during that virtual meeting to anybody or the entire email list.
All right.
Because numbers are really the key.
Good.
Is that meeting tomorrow only virtual, or is it going to have are they meeting in a location?
My understanding is it's only virtual.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
It is.
And you were invited. Was the Board of County Commissioners invited? I didn't receive an invite.
I received it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'll have to look.
I didn't expand I know that it said there was 47 invitees. I didn't know.
I saw it. Yeah,
Okay. And so we'll fall under the Open Meetings Act on that one too, right?
If more than two of you
Yeah. So we need to
virtually,
decide who
then yes.
the two that are going to.
I said it again. So when is
If
that?
more than two commissioners attended that meeting virtually, it would fall under the Open Meetings Act. So you need to
More
try
than
to
two.
limit it to two. Right.
I planned on attending just because I'm on the LCDC board.
Yeah. Who else wants to do it?
Well, I don't know. The other question I was going to ask, there's a couple projects that aren't mentioned. Baser's been talking about another turnpike interchange.
Yeah.
Is that
That's not this program.
is it something that can be brought up at this thing to get on the agenda later to be talked about?
No.
That's the KTA.
That's the KTA.
So that would be strictly the KTA.
That's a
It wouldn't
completely
involve
different-
this funding.
No, this cannot involve any federal fund. The KTA projects cannot involve any federal funds, and so that project is not eligible for the Ag Transportation Program.
Okay, and what about this, the 152 bridge? Is that also in that category?
Yes, you could talk about that if it was ranked high on our regional transportation study.
Which is, if that's true, then my recommendation would be that Jeff, can you attend that meeting tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that all right with you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Since he will champion that bridge.
He's got the info.
So that kind of covers us. But I'm often surprised at the things that get elevated on these lists.
If we're
True, Mark. Go ahead, Roy.
listening to the meeting, but not participating in the meeting, does that count as individuals who are
Potentially.
potentially
Because the two commissioners they will be making comments, and it is set up to be an interactive meeting, so that could potentially create a problem if one of you then made another comment.
All right.
You
Yeah, it
definitely
would
be in
take a
violation.
participation from a third member for it to be an issue.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Could this be noticed up? I mean, can we notice this up that all the commissioners will be there?
Well, it's not our meeting, so that creates a little bit of a problem, and so we don't have control to the access. Are they going to allow access to this virtual meeting to the public? It's not our meeting, so we don't control that portion of it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. What else we got?
Don't fight it.
Anything
That's
else?
all I have.
Nothing else? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, and I'll get you some bullet points.
All
Thank
right.
you. Appreciate it.
Okay, no executive item is needed. So the next thing is presentation discussions. I start. Just had the opportunity to see Stacy Driscoll get sworn in. Also we got to say goodbye to Caleb. Did a good job. Lansing had their fall festival this Saturday. Well attended. Whoever was in charge of weather, they did a great job because we really had a good turnout out there. And again, as last year, I'll be judging on October 31st at Council on Aging on their Halloween contest. Really got some good people that do some really impressive things. That's all I have. Willie?
Nothing.
Vanessa? Jeff?
I don't today.
Mike?
I just want to make a comment on the situation I don't know if you noted the situation of the young Republicans, and some statements were made that involved racially disparaging comments. That was, I think that we all need to check ourselves and make sure that when we're involved in social media, and it certainly does not take anybody else off the hook, because I've seen a lot of anti-Semitic things coming from the Democrat side, and but now this coming from the young Republicans. We need to be very careful on our rhetoric, and we respect each other no matter what our backgrounds are, our races are, whatever, our family lineage. All those we're all Americans, and we all believe that everybody is equal under the law. And I think we ought to strive for that, and I think something needs to be said when these things come up.
Just be a good person. It's not really that hard. I think exactly what you're saying, Mike. And sometimes people get carried away, but we've got to get to where we're working together better. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, come on up.
I didn't have any information.
We're going to let you come on up. Introduce yourself again and throw the question at us.
Trina Guilford. Just have a question, and hopefully the answer is simple. Is it true that you have reversed your previous denial of Ad Astra Riverbend Heights RHID?
No. The only one we've approved RHID is the one over off the one we're talking about. That one hasn't been brought back to us, and nothing's been done with that one.
Okay, that's perfect. There's something on Facebook saying...
There always is.
I know, but I just wanted to come to the source and ask.
No.
Thank you for doing that. That's
yes,
helpful.
Yeah,
thank you,
when we
guys.
hear it, I'm glad you asked that, because it's good to hear. We can get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
thank you.
I just didn't want it to go any further.
I appreciate
So I'll
it.
be happy to report to that post that that's not true.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, do we have
We did. We had 2 seconds.
We have 2 seconds. Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank